Okay, so this presentation, I'm going to do the first slide and then I'll hand it over to Rex. Just a little explanation on nation building. I think Northwest Indian College is familiar with this and incorporates it into their curriculum. Nation building is an economic development term. There's contemporary approaches, which is income and jobs, but the tribe tries to take a nation building approach where we work on developing an environment where businesses and economic development can thrive. So that's whether it's public utilities, broadband, CDFI with the revolving loan fund, and then codes and policies like the procurement policy, which enforces native preference. And then just a brief description on microeconomics. Is the branch of economics that analyzes the market behavior of individual consumers and firms in an attempt to understand the decision-making process of firms and households. So I guess where we're hitting on microeconomics is what is going on in our local market. You know, the tribe is going through, with the Canadian dollar, we're having to do some reductions on our side, and then Alcoa is doing some layoffs of 483 employees through the remainder of the year. So there's going to be some hard economic times, and this is where small business development can help rebuild the economy back up. And how we, you know, I think we're on a good path with the Lummi tribe, did the nation building approach and getting our dollars to recycle through the system, which strengthens our sovereignty. And then we're working through the institutions, Lummi CDFI, LIBC, and I think Northwest Indian College is going through processes to become more effective institutions. And our next steps will be to setting the strategic direction and having all the entities work together to create the path for what our economy is going to look like. And then that's my piece, and now it's Rex's turn.
All right, thank you, Rita. Okay, so some of this we've already discussed. In 2006, LDA incorporated LCDFI. We were discussing doing RLFs, and when I was economic development director, I remember us meeting, you know, when we were talking about applying, and Fred Cooper was the gentleman's name who actually really helped us get through to this, or through here, put the first application together to get the money. The 40,000 seed money. We had to make loans. You had to act as a lending institute before they were going to award you being a CDFI. And so we kind of thought that's a little backwards, but we were given $40,000. Was that from the tribe? Does anybody remember if that was directly from the tribe? Yeah, the initial 40,000. Okay. So. Okay, yeah. So yeah, and we were given the $40,000. We didn't even have a staff then, I don't believe. Yeah, we just we were a committee and had to do that. And then we, in order to get our, I don't even think we were a 501c3 at that time. Yeah, we just recently got that. And so we had to give out loans, and like I mentioned earlier, we had put out 37 loans, like something like that. And most of them were small. So when you hear us talk about delinquency, you know, they were $500, $1,000. I think one might have been about $3,000. But we learned, you know, and I think that's one thing that I think Northwest Area Foundation wanted to see was, are you learning from your mistakes? And Tony Genia, I mean, you know, many of you remember Tony, and what an awesome man that was participating with us. And he knew we were going to go through all these, you know, challenges, and I'm sure he wanted to see how we were going to handle them. And so. Let's see. Okay, so part of the Northwest Area Foundation's commitment to the community was giving the CDFI $1.25 million. And, you know, that really solidified us big time. You know, the Department of Treasury as well has given us money. Roughly how much, Laura, would you say, over, or Rita, Laura, any idea?
Well, we've received financial assistance, and in 2014, we actually received a technical assistance grant that we can use for operations, and that was, I think, nearly 150,000.
So one problem we've had, and it's a good problem, we've had a lot of money. And, you know, part of our responsibility, though, is to protect that money as well. And so, as you've heard some of these folks explain that, you know, it was a process letting people know it's not a grant program. And probably the initial 30-some loans we made, it probably looked like a grant program. And then we had to, you know, toughen up and kind of re-educate people that, no, it's not a grant program. And that the process that we're putting you through is for your best interest, not, and it's protecting us as well. So let's see, loan officer hired, and that was Rita? She was our first loan officer? Or was she our first director? Okay, so yeah, she was our both, and let's see, okay, so she reduced the delinquency rate, yeah, so down to 27%. And let's see, when did you come on board, Laura?
I came on in 2011.
Okay, 2011. That's why she's putting her numbers up there in big, bold black. It's like, this is what I've done for you lately, so. So you can read that. I haven't, you know, I don't know this slide, so you can just look at it. And we're in a healthy situation right now. And as I mentioned earlier, we are looking at other opportunities. And one of them, I think, to solidify the CDFI is to not just loan to Lummi tribal members. I mean, they always have priority, but we can find other sources of money too if we become more of a regional CDFI to help us grow even larger, and even tribal projects. You know, the goal for the board is to put that money in safe areas, and so even if we had money, we could even loan to the tribe for building whatever it is. And so I think that one of our visions is to eventually do that, because that's a good loan. And so if we can get up to, say, $5 million of money out and get to, my background is entrepreneurial, so I'm always thinking, how do I get to the point where I'm self-sustaining? And I know in the nonprofit world, it's like, oh, Rex, you're dreaming. But still, that's my aspiration is, you know, do we need to have 10 million out, and then that'll cover our overhead and our staff? So that's, you know, eventually, hopefully we could get to that point. But what I hear from other CDFIs, that's not very realistic, but oh well. Let's see, so this is what we've done so far, 7 loans. You know, it's interesting to watch, to see the fruits of our labor. It's right here. I mean, when you look at the stories that these people told, and to be able to make an assumption that many of these people wouldn't have had that business going if it wasn't for the CDFI. You know, to be able to have the asset, and as I was talking to Roy a little bit about, you know, going in town and trying to get a loan from the local bank, that's like pulling teeth. And that's our goal, is to help people that have a good plan. You know, they have character. Let's give them some money and help them accomplish their dreams. Haishka. Okay, put the other hat on. All right. I don't know if you need any introduction or not, but I think I need to do that for technical purposes.